Have you ever heard of a mountain that isn't really a mountain? It's a story. It's a warning. And, well, it's literally a boat that was kicked over in a fit of pure rage. And, when I say it looks like an upside-down boat, I'm not being poetic here. It looks almost exactly like the hull of some massive vessel that's been flipped over. This is not a metaphor, it's a literal description. And that very shape, that's the key to this whole incredible story. The name of this volcano is Tangkuban Perahu, and in the local Sundanese language, that means, you guessed it, overturned boat. According to the legend we're going to get into, that's not just a clever name, it's exactly what it is. So that's the big question, right? How on earth does a massive boat, one that was built in a single night, end up as an active volcano that still steams and rumbles to this day? Well, the answer lies in a dramatic, ancient, and honestly a pretty complex story of love, tragedy, and impossible tasks. Our story kicks off the way so many great tragedies do, with a single, impulsive moment. It all starts with a woman, her dog, and a promise that really should never have been made. So let's meet our heroine, Dayang Sumbi. You've got to picture her. She was almost a legend in her own right. Incredibly beautiful, a master weaver, and people said she was descended from royals, maybe even from the gods themselves. She lived this quiet life up in the beautiful Parayangan highlands of West Java. So one day, she's weaving, and her shuttle, her main tool, falls and rolls just out of her reach. And in a moment of sheer frustration, she just blurts out this careless promise. Whoever brings it back to her, she'll marry them. A silly, trivial moment, or so you'd think. I mean, she probably thought a servant or maybe a neighbor would grab it for her, but the one who came trotting back with her shuttle was a dog named Tumung. And here is where the story takes a sharp turn into the mythological. Because, you see, Tumung wasn't just any dog. He was a Kayangan spirit, a divine being from the heavens, just in animal form. And a promise made to a being like that, it had to be kept. So, Dayang Sumbi, true to her word, married him. From this very strange union, a son was born. And this next part of the story is all about him. It's about a terrible mistake on a hunt, and a scar that would end up sealing his fate for life. Okay, so their son, Sangkuriang, he grew up strong, but he had absolutely no idea about his father's true identity. One day, his mother craved a deer's heart for a meal. Sangkuriang goes out hunting but finds nothing. Desperate to please her, he makes a horrific choice. He kills Tumung, his own father, and brings his heart home instead. When Dayang Sumbi found out the truth, her fury was just absolute. She struck Sangkuriang on the head, leaving a deep scar, and banished him. And this is where the story's own magical logic really kicks in. As Sangkuriang wandered the world for years and years, he grew from a boy into a powerful man. But Dayang Sumbi, thanks to her divine blood, didn't age a single day. She stayed just as young and beautiful as ever, which, as you can imagine, sets the stage for a truly tragic reunion. So years later, the past comes roaring back into the present. A man falls in love with a woman he can never have, forcing his own mother to come up with a desperate, impossible plan to stop him. After all those years away, Sangkuriang finally returns to his homeland. He sees this woman of just extraordinary beauty and is instantly captivated. He has no idea, how could he, that it's his own ageless mother. But she looked at this handsome stranger, she saw the scar on his head, and in a single moment of pure horror, she knew. This was her son. What could she possibly do? I mean, the truth was way too terrible to speak out loud, but the alternative was just unthinkable. So instead of refusing him outright, Dayang Sumbi got strategic. She decided to set an impossible condition for their marriage. These tasks were designed to be failed. First, he had to dam the massive Sitaram River to make a huge lake. Second, he had to build a giant boat to sail on it. And the final impossible catch, he had to do all of it in one single night, between sunset and sunrise. A task no mortal could ever hope to complete. But Sangkuriang wasn't entirely mortal, was he? And this is where it all goes down. We're talking about a night of supernatural creation, a desperate trick, and a moment of pure rage that would literally reshape the world. Sangkuriang uses his divine heritage and calls on an army of spirits to help him.
All through the night, these supernatural beings are working at an impossible speed. The river is dammed, the boat is almost finished. Dayang Sumbi is watching all this, and this cold terror just washes over her. He's actually going to do it.
She had to act, and she had to act fast. Using her own divine skill as a weaver, she runs to the eastern hills and spreads out her bright, beautiful weaving cloths. They catch the light just so, creating the perfect illusion of a sunrise. The local roosters, totally fooled, start to crow. The spirits, thinking their time is up, flee back into the earth. Sangkuriang sees this dawn, and he knows instantly that he's been tricked. He looks at his nearly finished boat, the symbol of everything he was working for, and understands he was meant to fail from the start. His rage is absolute, and in a fit of superhuman fury, he kicked the boat. And that one single act of rage creates an entire landscape. The massive hull flies through the air and lands upside down, becoming the mountain we now call Tangkuban Perahu. The dam he built breaks, and the rush of water carves out the valleys around it. And Sangkuriang, his purpose completely lost, just vanishes into the mists that still cling to the volcano's craters today. But the story doesn't really end there. Let's dig into what this incredible legend actually means, how it became a way of understanding geology, psychology, and the very identity of a people. You know, you can read this story on so many levels. Psychologically, sure, it's a version of the Oedipus myth, but with a really active mother desperately trying to stop the tragedy. Cosmologically, it's a creation story for the landscape itself. Volcanically, the mountain's constant steam is seen as the literal, physical manifestation of Sangkuriang's immortal, unresolved rage. And of course, morally, it's a huge warning about the lasting power of one careless promise. For the Sundanese people who live in its shadow, this mountain isn't just a pile of rock and steam. The mountain is the boat. The volcanic steam is the anger. The entire landscape is the story, written in earth and stone for everyone to see. This is how myths make our world meaningful. They give a face to the land and a soul to these massive geological forces. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you look closely enough at the hills and rivers where you live, what ancient stories is your landscape trying to tell you?